smiling just in case. Okay. Hi, Joy. So my name is Ruby, and this is Group 3, Post 7.
I'm Sierra. I'm Emma.
Celeste.
All right.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm still pulling up because
No,
I just
don't
had it
worry.
I don't have my laptop.
So the first one was about the Solem assessment for the case study.
Mm-hmm.
I did that last week with my
Yeah.
student.
The Solem assessment.
Yeah.
Wait, how did you do it with your student? If it's like reading and writing and
She's in the
No,
class
the-
all day.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
so it's
the
easier for
solemn
you?
one is just the conversation one.
Yeah.
Is like it gives you a list of questions.
I'll show
It's
you.
the one that gives you like it's in
What?
English and Spanish, and it gives you like 10 questions, and there's sort of like
But
three.
she has like a link
Yeah.
online that's on here that says that, and it's like totally different.
And it's like a rubric type.
Yeah, it's like a rubric.
Yeah, there's a
This
rubric
one
that you score the
says-
student like after you talk to them, like you sort of analyze their
Here's the question.
ability to talk.
Okay.
How are you? What is your name? How many people are there in your family? What is today's date? Can you spell your name in English and Spanish? How old are you? Where were you born? When is your birthday? Can you tell me something about your family? Tell me what you like best about school. Is there anything you don't like about school? And what is it? Tell me about your best friend. What do you want to do when you grow
But
up?
how does that rank vocabulary and
Well, it's not like
comprehension?
it's like the let's see hold on, I'm like here we go. Okay, so here's I named my case study student Maya. So like here's the rubric for her, and so it's that like I came up with, and so it's just like you note like the student is able to like respond to the questions, or like the student's pronunciation makes it so sometimes it's difficult to understand what they're saying, or like you just sort of like
Okay, so there's nothing that you have to. So when I saw it, I kind of thought of it like reading and writing, an assessment for reading and writing, not for oral language.
yeah.
So
no.
listening to your student and then judging their vocabulary that they use, not vocabulary or like comprehension, like when it
Yeah.
comes to reading. That's how I was viewing it.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's what I was like, wait, like, well, how does that even? Why
You
asking questions going to
Stop.
help you with that?
Mhm.
You're right.
Makes
But
sense.
that makes more sense. Go back to the discussion.
Okay. It's not wanting to come up. Oh yeah, because I have to go into groups.
What are other ways that you guys have assessed your student in informal ways? I feel like for me it's like awkward to like take them out in the hall and just like ask them all these questions, because I feel like if that was me as a student, that would make me feel like really awkward and uncomfortable. So like pretty much all of the assessments I've done have been informal. I just like sit by her and like casually like ask her questions instead of like being super formal about it, because I know I wouldn't like that as like a student. So I don't know. I try and be super informal about it.
Sure, yeah. I also, I think I do the same thing. I've looked at the questions and all the assessments. So piece by piece, I put it together. So sometimes I'll like ask him a question because sometimes it'll come up in a conversation or a similar thread of conversation, and so I'll do the same thing. I either write it down, make note of it, and like I talk about the journals.
Oh, okay. No worries. No worries.
Someone else can read mine.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I just talk about the journal, how you do. I had the first week that I went out, so I'll write my journal about that. But usually my journals will be about the lesson, how it went. So I make note of how the student is corresponding, like in a group setting, versus like when he is individually working on his own. And so now that I spend a whole day in his classroom, I have a lot more to note on, because I I just feel like we don't have enough time with the students
No.
to assess them in all
It's
these
really
ways.
hard that you guys have to just build extra time in to like go watch them.
Yeah, I honestly think it is.
And I just feel like we don't have enough interaction with them because even when I was there the whole day, it was I just was there as a observing, but I wasn't just sticking to his side the whole time because it's like you're an extra teacher in the classroom, so you just like I did stay close to him for the most part. But yeah, also this is a tangent, but have you guys seen their math teacher or music?
I haven't had any time to go.
Oh, okay.
Why?
Have you gone yet?
Don't.
Ruby?
Yeah, I've gone, but I haven't seen the music
Yeah.
teacher. Why?
I don't think she's supposed to be teaching them. Like,
She's super new, I heard, and
yeah, and she's having behavior management issues, but she straight up yells at the kids. Like,
really?
I was sitting there while she yelled at them, and I was like,
Oh wait, what's going on right now? Sorry.
it's still recording.
Exaggerating way too much. Sorry. I exaggerated a lot. Okay. Oh my gosh, that's horrible.
Yeah, that's.
And like it's crazy that you know about that because I didn't even know about that.
Yeah,
About
Hannah was telling me about it, how she was like watching she's like really new, and then after the school day was over, the music teacher was like running around trying to find Hannah because she thought that Hannah was like somebody like assessing her or something.
Mm-hmm.
So she was like trying to find Hannah to like ask how she was doing, and Hannah's like, I was just like observing for like me, and I wasn't observing you. And yeah, I'm just like,
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Last time I went, I don't know if your students do this, but for my student, they moved to a different classroom for reading and writing. And that
What grade are they in?
5th grade.
Okay.
And they had a substitute teacher for that. This is like not even related to sorry, Joy.
Well, I mean, we're talking about
a case study.
They had a substitute teacher, and the substitute teacher thought I was a student. I was wearing booties, I was wearing makeup, jewelry. I
They
literally,
thought you were a fifth
and they
grader?
thought I was a 5th grader.
Wow.
Because I was sitting right next to my 5th grader, yeah. I was like, oh, no way. No, it was an old guy, so of course he's old, he doesn't even know. But yeah, he was an old guy, and this lady comes in, and like the old guy asks the lady, and the lady came up to me, he's like, are you a student? And I was like, oh, no. He's like, oh, okay. He thought you were new. I was like, I'm not new.
5th grade?
No, yeah. It's so bad, God. No, back to topic though.
Okay.
I think the case study is asking like a lot of information, like their language history and all those things. And I feel like the amount of time that we're with them is not. I feel like this is an essay that we should be writing after like a whole year of being a student.
Well, also
Yeah,
have
like,
like access to information.
regular. Just like every consistent observations, or if we're there, if we only see him once a week for when we teach, and then additionally when we go into the classroom. But I have to go for a big chunk, and so that big chunk was one day, and
Yeah.
it's just not fair to
Just
the
one day.
student.
Yeah.
So, like we're like dealing with a lot of behaviors, and so like it's hard to just like focus, like sit there and ask one student questions.
Yeah.
And like me and Hannah switch off, so like I'm like the main person that like has the lesson plan. So it's hard for me to like step off and just like work with that one person.
Yeah.
It's like hard.
But like I don't know, this honestly has been one of my favorite practicums, only because I am not actually I am teaching, but I care more about having them showing kindness and like caring for one another, and that's mostly like what I teach. Like I teach we teach about ecosystems and stuff, but like we stop in the middle of a lesson or not even teach a part of the whole lesson because we just talk about the importance of being kind to each other. That's like my biggest word. Like I love kindness. It's like so important to me. But yeah, and I don't know. I just think that right now for this practicum, I care more about learning like different behavioral management strategies than actual teaching strategies.
Yeah.
Hi, you sniffing
The
me?
stuff
Sniffing
there's
right
not really
now.
much time. But like I can't imagine not doing this with my student teaching. Like it's I'm with that kid all the time.
Yeah.
And so I don't have to be like hyper focused on her because I'm there 2 full
And
days
you
a
already
week
know
now.
her,
And,
like-
yeah, like it seems really hard. What like that you guys are supposed to.
Yeah.
get to know the kid and like build that relationship and everything.
Especially with how
them.
many behavioral issues we have.
Okay,
Ours
so
are pretty good,
I
but
went
like
to
your
an
guys'
assembly, yeah, and the whole school struggles with behavior management because even the principal doesn't have the respect that I've seen in other schools. If the principal is talking, no one's talking, and
yeah, people are scared of
Yeah.
not scared, but like they're like,
yeah,
okay, that's
as soon as
principal.
principal in sight, you just like, I don't know, behave. And I feel like yeah, and I think it has to do a huge amount with the fact that there's not that much representation. So the students, they don't know the students. They like the way we go about teaching definitely depends on the student that we're teaching.
Yeah.
So these students, we can, as much as we want, we can read about these students. We can learn how to teach these students. But if you don't know them, then you won't be able to teach them. And in the assembly too, like 2% of the whole school is white. I feel like if that. And
I saw that at the family night. There was like.
mhm. That's what it looks like there. In my classroom with the student that I'm serving, literally 3 students are white and the rest are students of color. And they had the assembly, and besides behavior management issues that I noticed within the whole school, they were, I think, giving prizes for the fundraisers for their walkathon, and the 2% that white students were the ones standing up and being recognized, and so everybody else was like, okay, this doesn't apply to me, I'm not going to pay attention type of thing. So it just like, it was crazy to see that the only names being called, the only students being called were the,
That's really crazy.
Yeah, that's weird.
and then you look around and all the teachers are white, and it's just, it shows that, I mean, I think they are trying, and I think the school tries a lot harder than other schools.
Yeah, I was really impressed with like how all the announcements were English and Spanish at family night.
At family night, I was working the ticket booth, so like they had to walk in, make their name tags, and then like put their name on the back of the ticket, and then they got to keep the other ticket for the food or whatever.
Yeah, like he's cute, but then he's a little rascal.
But it was cool to see because like I would like tell the parents what to do, but they would just like look at me, and then the student would translate for them. So it's like cool to see that like the kids had to translate for them, and like it's like really interesting because I've never really had to see that because the parents would just like look at me, and then they would look at their kid, and then the kid would like speak Spanish to them, and then it's like, wow, I've never really seen
noticed
that.
like none of the games had anything in Spanish, and it seemed like it'd be nice if for parents who maybe can't read in English, if they could have participated in some of those games with the kids if they
And
were
that is-
in Spanish.
Yeah, like I remember talking to Corinne about it, and I was like, I noticed like the family members and the parents who actually participating don't, but like that's such a good point. Like I didn't even think about that. And I speak Spanish, and I never even like saw that perspective.
Yeah.
Where, like probably they wanted to like be a part of their kids, that program and stuff, but they just couldn't because they didn't know how
Like
to
the
speak
parents
or
that I
read.
saw come in and play the games with their kids were having a lot of fun and were really enjoying playing the games, but it leaves out a whole group of parents who can't read English to come to have, especially like having the focus of that event be an ELL family night to only have literacy stuff.
Yeah.
And that's that. Like all the games were just English. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the survey wall thing?
Oh, yes.
I thought I took a picture
That's
of
awesome.
it. It
I
said,
think I saw that.
do you review or sign your child's daily planner? And they had this one in English and Spanish, and then it's like yes or no, and you put your dot for like what it is, and then it said, do you read at home with your child? Yes or no? Are math topics included in your conversation? And have you seen the Title I Parent Involvement Plan? I don't know. I thought it was a cool way to get like a little assessment. You could see all like the dots of like, where
and it's
people
nice
are
to
at.
have that be anonymous with just little dots, so no one has to be like, "Ooh, I have to go write my name under does not
Yeah.
look at my students' stuff that they bring home." And you would just
Yeah.
be like, "No, I don't do that."
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Really agree with you on
Yeah.
Where are we even at? I was confused with this question because it like brought up service learning, and I was like, is that
Okay, wait, which question are we on?
Well, I think I think
I thought that's what she meant, but
probably mean that, yeah.
okay. I feel like we already talked.
that.
Oh, I just like write
Oh,
notes.
this is yours. You want to read yours?
Yeah, sure. I talked about them, just said, besides the weekly journals, because I had talked about it in the previous question, I recorded the student during the word list book, which was like an assignment from another class, and they created their own story to the word list book, and it was a group of 3, and I just analyzed the part of my case study
I
student.
have to like hold him up so that Joy can see why we all keep being like, ah, so good.
Stop it! He hides behind the couch.
There's a puppy here, Joy.
Yeah, and I think just like taking observations of it all just helps us.
Yeah, that's what I do. I just take like little notes. Besides the word list book, I obviously recorded that because we had to, but it's actually kind of cool to, because then I don't like see myself teaching or anything. But she was mostly talking, but it was like cool to like listen back to it and see what she actually struggled with. Because in the moment, I was kind of just like, I was like paying attention, but like it's easier when I'm like by myself and like listening to it over and over again.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I also just like write notes and stuff.
Yeah, I just like
Makes
take
it
notes,
easier.
and then all the assessments I've done, I have like the hard copy of them
Yeah.
with everything I filled out. Although some of it was kind of hard, and maybe this is like because I'm working with a first grader and you guys are working with older students, but like she didn't know the answers to a lot of the questions about herself. Although now, like she didn't know the answer at all and kept telling me every time I asked her anything about where she was born, she had a different answer. Although now she's settled in with Seattle. Like that's her answer now. But like the first time I asked her where she was born, it was Cedar Woolley. And then later when she was talking about her family, she was talking about how we all came to America together because it's so fun here. And so I was like, oh, were you alive before your family came here? And she was like, no. And I was like, oh. And then later she told me she was born in Seattle, and then she said something about my mom came to America and she was sad because we weren't with her, so then we came too, and now she's just like 10 out of 10. I was born in Seattle, but like a lot of the questions.
That's hard as a first grader.
It's hard, and it's hard for like as a first grader. One of the questions on like the on the I don't remember which one. One of the ones that was asking like, why are you learning English? Like,
Oh yeah, I remember.
why are you learning English?
Yeah.
I
I asked that, and it was a weird question because you have to.
Yeah,
basically.
Is that Ruby? Is that yours? That's not that. Okay, just
No, yeah. But what's like getting really frustrating though is my CT, so my student's teacher, this is her first year and she knows nothing about her students. Absolutely nothing.
Really?
I've literally asked her, so like after my interview, my student did not know a lot of the answers.
Right.
I don't like it when she's black, sorry. It just
yeah.
freaks
No,
me
it'd
out.
be really bad if it was like we're done.
But literally, she admitted it. She's like, I'm sorry, but I don't know anything about her.
Whoa.
And I'm like, oh, okay. And I was like, well, what about like,
I guess it only is November, so
I know, but I feel like she should know,
right
like,
now, she should
like
know.
family. Like when I asked her about her family, like her family situation, like didn't know anything.
Yeah.
I asked her like if she's been in any programs, like when it comes to like English language learners or bilingual. She didn't know any of that.
Yeah.
She didn't know, like, it was kind of crazy.
That
Like, she
also
didn't.
seems
I asked her
really
like
hard
her
for you
grade
guys.
level and like reading. She didn't know that.
Weird.
Her grade
It
level
seems
for
hard
reading.
with you guys not having access to all the information.
What?
Like I have
I know.
access to pretty much all the information about my student that I want because I'm allowed to log into like the school's information system, and so I can like pull up all of the student information that they have.
she should know their level.
Yeah,
should.
she
That's
does know
weird,
it.
especially because she's teaching them, so she needs to know where they're at to like challenge them,
Yeah,
or
that's what I
challenge
mean.
them.
Yeah, that-
or-
But like
Has she
when
done no
I'm like
reading
in this
assignments?
classroom,
At
when
least
I'm
to
in
tell
the
you like
classroom,
below grade level, at grade level.
Yeah, but it's like
It's so
weird
weird.
because they just read independently and then she reads a book out loud. But that's it. So she doesn't like
Weird.
do any like one-on-one, or she doesn't do like any assessments or any of that. Like, I haven't seen so far.
This is
But
Alan.
it's strange. Yeah.
What's her name?
Her name is Miss Schultz. She was a 5th grade teacher there. Yeah, it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, there's
really
like
odd.
good things about her, but I just like thought it was so strange that she does not know her students. And then I asked her about, and then Corinne has her students in that same classroom in the same situation. She did not know anything about her student either.
Weird.
Yeah,
Does
absolutely
she not
nothing.
do any kind of like social talk with students? Like, you know, even if you don't have someone hand you a packet on the first day of school saying like, this is all the information about the student we have. Like, most of the information I know about students in my class that I'm student teaching in is just from talking to them.
Yeah.
And just like asking them, oh, do you have any brothers and sisters?
Mm-hmm.
What's going on in your life
Simple
right now?
as that. What did you do over the weekend? You'll find out a lot about us. Oh, I hung out with my brother.
Yeah, like every Monday in my classroom in the morning, like the first thing we do is all the kids get to go around and say one fun thing they did this weekend. Fun fact, one of them 2 weeks ago was like, my grandma took me to another planet this weekend. And all the kids were like, what? And she was like, we went to a planet called Seattle.
That's
But
why
she
I love
was
little
like
kids.
dead serious.
We went to another place.
She is really sweet, but she's like, she lives on another planet. Like, this girl is off in her own world. Like, she did go to another planet. She is. I told them today, so my like unit that I'm doing is about families, and so I told them I was sending home a note in their folders that was asking their parents to send a photo in, like a family photo, because they're going to get to present about their families, and so showing a photo. And she came up to me and she goes, Miss Hubbard, I can't bring a photo until December 18th because that's when I get back from Disneyland. And I was like, it doesn't have to be a picture of Disney. I just want a picture of your family. I don't know. She's really funny. She like announced today my new baby sister was born, but like she also announced that 2 weeks ago and says that the baby sister's name is Lest. And then also her mom was like not pregnant. So me and her and my CT are both just like, what is happening at your house?
Her mom wasn't pregnant.
Like, her mom came in for a conference 2 weeks ago. Was not pregnant.
Oh my goodness.
But apparently
She would have been very pregnant.
has a new baby sister named Lest. We were both just like, what's the name?
Oh my god.
Okay. She's a sweet kid, but she like lives on her own planet.
Okay, are we supposed to interview the parents? I was confused with this.
No,
It's
it's
just
just
not.
like we,
like,
yeah,
just
overall.
I think it's just like if you were a
if you
teacher.
were.
Because a lot of this stuff that I felt like, a lot of this was about like if you're an ELO specialist and someone refers a student to you because they're concerned about them.
Yeah.
And so, like, we can't review the referral file because that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But, okay, we're kind of jumping. Should we do the, how might you see the interview process in P-Trust with parents?
Oh, that's what I was. Yeah, that's what I was.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, there were some real personal questions on there. Like, I would never feel like I could ask a parent, tell me about your birth experience with this child. Was it a good birth experience? Like, if my kid's teacher asked me that.
That's like breaking some boundaries.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So weird.
I would just be like,
I feel like
I have to go.
If I asked, I would be like,
Yeah.
the hell?
Yeah.
My kid's
Yeah.
stupid. I mean, my
I
teacher.
feel like some of those questions you have to like have a good relationship with the parents. You know, it's like not
Contact
even
the
for like a
parents,
first
set it up.
interview question. These are all like first interview questions. I feel like.
It's like you can maybe ask the parent that in June at the end of the year
Yeah.
if you've
Okay,
met with them
great,
every
fine.
month. Oh,
I
okay.
just haven't eaten all day, so I feel like
Oh.
I'm getting related. But
That's fair. I've just been really tired all day, and so you know.
Mhm.
why
deserve
not?
it, yeah. Hey, no.
But
No biting.
Yeah,
all day is hard.
definitely.
You need to have a glass of wine when you get home.
Yesterday I was there all day, and then we did the after-school program. I was exhausted. I had to come home and just chill. I didn't even do homework because I was like, I can't. This day was too long.
I really liked my first CT and my practicum. One time I was like, "Do you like need anything?" Like while they were at lunch or something, and she was like, "A margarita." I was like, "Yeah."
That's funny.
No.
Okay. Anything else for the parent trust thing?
I feel like if you already have like an established relationship, which we already talked about, that's what I talked about in mine.
Yeah.
I talked about how they might not be trusting just because
We're good.
I think the key in developing trust is to always have communication with them and letting them know what's happening. They might not understand. The important thing too is to have them understand why it's happening, because they can just be like, oh, okay, like sure, go for it.
Mhm.
Like, especially parents of bilingual or migrant youth, because they might not have time at home to discuss this, and the student might likely not know what is actually happening.
Yeah.
And so developing that trust by telling them what's going on directly and including them in the conversation is where you start, because they might find out randomly that, or just like see that you're keeping notes, and they might, if they're
like popcorn.
Yeah.
It's because the wind outside has something to do with. Hey, stop. Okay, next. Yeah, I can't. I'm telling you too much.
But I feel like
Fun.
kind of like also
Hey.
the motivation. If the parents don't understand what you're like, why you're doing this, you have to be really clearly communicating with them like what the purpose of the interview is and why you need to know personal information, like what kind of pregnancy they have.
Yeah, exactly.
Because otherwise, they're just like you're really
Why
getting.
do we need to know that?
I don't know. Maybe if there were like if someone had a really, really terrible pregnancy experience, I don't know, maybe some kind of like birth issues might affect development of child. But like if the parents don't know that like why you need that kind of information, I know that it would really make me feel uncomfortable as a parent if someone didn't really explain to me like I need to know about your pregnancy because of this.
Yeah.
It might have had this impact, which might be why we're experiencing whatever behavior or issue or whatever it is. But if you're not like super clear about why you're going to ask really intense personal questions,
Okay.
I don't know.
The next one, thinking of your own case study and the assessments you have chosen. What specific interview questions might you ask your case study?
Oh, this is yours, Emma. Sorry.
Okay, can I just read mine?
These are like some of the questions I've asked. Have you always lived in Washington? Where have you lived? How many siblings do you have? How many people live in your household? What do you like to do on the weekends? What do you like to do after school? What is your favorite TV show? Do you play any sports? Who's your best friend? What is your favorite song? What is your favorite subject? What is your least favorite subject? What language do you speak at home?
Yeah, I was just like, well, I did those already, and I provided questions, so
Yeah.
I asked the questions provided.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't, none of the assessments I've done have been like, talk to your student about this, and then like open-ended where I'm supposed to come up with questions. So,
Yeah.
I mean, like, if the girl didn't know what, like, she didn't really provide much of an answer, it was just like one or two words, then I would usually rephrase the question or like prompt her with follow-up questions, but pretty much I just used the questions given to me because I thought they were supposed, like, I thought you had to do it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I would just include, or specifically ask the students what language they're most comfortable reading, writing, and speaking in. I did informally ask the student what language they speak to them or think to themselves in, because they came up in the conversation, and I thought it was really interesting because my students said Spanish, so that's what their dominant language is.
That was a good. I saw that on your thing, and I was like, oh yeah, that's a really good question to ask. What are you thinking?
And just basic other information, like have you been in the EL program? How long? And one of the teachers talked to us about how there's this section of the time where some students go in and they all speak Spanish. We didn't get much information or detail on that, so I was going to ask the student if he... Well, that was before I went to observe, and I saw that they don't leave the classroom. But I was going to ask if he leaves in the morning.
They don't participate in the bilingual thing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, neither does my
Weird.
student, which is so weird.
And it's interesting
Do you guys
because, like,
know,
everybody...
do you know anything about, like, how they decide who is in that, or, like, how students do that?
No, but that'd be like really interesting to find out, because I don't know, like I felt like my student and then like Corinne's student is just only here for a year. Like, he's been here for only a year, and he's still not in any programs. He's in the classroom all day, and so it's kind of like, I don't know, like it's because they don't speak both English and Spanish. So I would understand maybe if it was like English and Spanish, but it's not. So I don't know. It's like really, I don't know. I thought
that is
really
weird.
strange.
Yeah, well,
especially for a newcomer, only 1 year being here, and he's not getting additional help.
Yeah, because at the family night, Emma and I were talking to one of the first grade teachers, and she was like, "Oh yeah, we have the like program where the heritage speakers, like people who are native speakers of Spanish, get to go and do like Spanish." I don't remember if she said it was like literacy stuff in Spanish or exactly what it was, but it was like they get instruction in Spanish for an hour a day or something. And I was like, that is so cool, and like that seems like such a cool program, but it's a bummer if
He's so hungry he's gonna eat the whole. I just fed you.
if lots of students who like should be in that program or could be in that program aren't getting the benefits of being able to have some
Sit.
instruction in their language.
I find it weird.
Especially for students who are recent arrived in the US. That seems like a no-brainer. Those kids should be getting...
Did you guys feel like you were repeating yourself a lot during this discussion?
You what?
Did you feel like you were repeating yourself a lot?
Yeah, I just didn't feel like there was enough content in this discussion to include a whole discussion.
Well,
I feel like it
basically
should
at 30 minutes. I think we can probably finish it up pretty soon.
I think so too.
Um,
Because I gotta leave at like,
Yeah.
like 7 minutes. It's my sister's birthday today.
Oh,
Dirty 30.
Dirty, dirty.
my cousin had a like hot pink themed 29th birthday party, and then her 30th birthday was just black. Like everything was. She was like, "It's over.
Yeah.
I'm done."
You guys, we need a money question.
Oh.
Let's try to find a
Well, like, how do you talk to parents about these like personal things that might have like? I just don't understand how you would even sort of go about doing that.
Especially in like the first
questions.
Just like,
Oh, okay.
how do you sort of explain to parents and rationalize why you need to ask them these super personal family questions?
Yeah. That's very
It's a
true.
really good
Probably, especially when you have like different cultures represent, like different cultures have very different ideas about what is and isn't appropriate to ask.
Very different.
And so, like, if you're talking to someone whose culture is very like private,
Yeah.
how do you approach anything like that without completely offending them, even if you're like so well-meaning and
Yeah,
you
and
know?
then that like ruins the relationship right off
Yeah.
the bat because you like totally offended them without
Yeah.
even like knowing it. Yeah.
So maybe something like that.
Yeah.
So we're at like right at the end, 31 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So the family engagement. I guess we all
all
attended
doing
the
it
same thing.
virtually.
We kind of already talked about
Have
that
you
already.
all gotten the answers for the questions?
no.
Oh,
Okay.
Hannah was emailed.
Yeah, but we haven't gotten them, and it's been like.
Yeah,
a
she
long
said,
time.
what's her name? Shannon. No,
Beth.
Beth. She was like, I'll get them to you tomorrow, and then Hannah was like, well, it's not due till like.
No!
And then
Oh,
Beth
no.
was like, oh no, don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. I can text Hannah and be like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
sure we'll get
because
that.
I have like 3 big assignments to do that week, like 3 big
I know.
projects.
I was looking at that.
And so I really want to get this one done
Taking
because I actually
17 credits
have
was too much for me.
really,
this quarter.
yeah.
Taking
I
mine
really
was a lot. I'm taking 17 credits.
Oh yeah, same. And
It's
then
like a lot.
I just had to register for next quarter, and because it's all like set for you in the internship, it's only 12 credits, and I almost cried. I was so happy.
wow, I can't believe it.
I know.
Because I'm so upset because I wanted to teach in Mexico for my last quarter of my student teaching.
Oh yeah,
and
like
I
do
can't.
educators abroad? Why not?
Yeah, because Mexico isn't a country offered over the summer
Oh.
to teach. Yeah, I cried so much when I found out today.
You could do the. I mean, there is like an ELL teaching program in Mexico.
I know, but I'm like done with I just have this year.
Oh yeah. Oh, so
Yeah.
wait, are you starting student teaching next quarter?
No, next year.
Next fall.
Spring. I mean winter.
Next.
So
next year.
winter,
Oh yeah. Okay,
spring,
so that's
and
not gonna be
then-
done in the summer.
Yeah. So,
But how do you
okay,
do
makes
your
sense.
full-time student teaching in the summer?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you be doing it in the fall anyways?
because you're able to teach. Like one of my friends is going to Costa Rica for summer, and that's her last quarter.
Oh
Yeah.
And so, but you don't want to just do it for the fall and have the summer like off, like.
Well, I don't think I can.
Oh.
Well, maybe I can actually. Oh my god.
Yeah, 'cause I feel
Most
like
people who
Maybe I
start
can
in the
skip
winter,
summer.
yeah, most people who start student teaching in the winter finish up the
But
fall.
wouldn't my
afterwards.
situation be a little different since I'm studying abroad?
No, you could definitely do it in the fall, and then you probably could do.
You're
it
studying abroad when?
for like educators abroad, student
Mhm.
teaching abroad.
Oh, okay.
So like for my student teaching, we have like 3 quarters. The first 2 quarters you stay here in Bellingham or Burlington, wherever they place you, and then the last quarter you can be placed anywhere else. You know, you gotta choose, or you can stay here. And I want to go to Mexico and teach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, guys, I had like my whole life planned out these next 5 years, and when I found out, I got so upset.
But you, as long as it's not gonna like ruin your whole life plan to graduate in the fall instead of the summer, you can do it in the like most people who do their student teaching and start in the winter graduate the following
Okay, so
fall.
then maybe I could do that.
Actually, I think you'd probably be required to do that because you wouldn't have September experience at all if you did winter, spring, summer.
True.
No, you have to use September experience.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk to Nancy Nielsen then. Nancy Nielsen.
All right.
Bye, Joy. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
I love how